Today, I want to talk about a trend that I've been seeing all over the internet, as well as heard from a few of my friends, which is quiet quitting. If you haven't heard about quiet quitting, it's basically where you don't actually quit your job, but you mentally quit your job and check out. You just do the bare minimum to not get fired and still get that paycheck. So today, I wanted to share a little bit about my experience in my 9-to-5. Now looking back, realizing that I had quietly quit, as well as my thoughts about whether or not this is morally acceptable. And then lastly, I want to end with some tips on what to do if you are considering a quiet quit and how you should be spending your time outside of your job. So let's jump right in by talking about my experience in my 9-to-5. So I quit my 9-to-5 job back in July of 2021, right around the whole Great Resignation or I don't dream of labor movement. My reason for quitting my job was because I was in a field I personally was not passionate about, and I had realized that I spent 4 years of my life going to school for engineering and doing internships, all to get into a 9-to-5 engineering job and genuinely not enjoying it. I was severely burnt out, and I've talked plenty about the subject, so I won't touch on it here. I'll have links in the description to all of the videos that go into more detail about my burnout, red flags at my job, and my specific experience quitting. But today I wanted to focus on the concept of quiet quitting and how, looking back at my last few months at my job, I realized that I really did. So the first 8 to 9 months of my 9-to-5 was very, very stressful for me. I was trying as hard as I could to keep up with all of the demands of the different projects I had in this consulting environment, as well as trying to go above and beyond to meet the expectations of my project managers, as well as my mentors and other people in my office. Now, this was really draining for me, and I found that I was feeling more stress and anxiety than ever before, trying to meet all of these demands, as well as having a life outside of my job. I had also just recently got married, moved to a new city, and there was just a lot going on for me. During this phase, I found myself getting consistently burnt out over and over again, getting sick and getting colds and having to use my PTO for that, as well as not being able to even focus for 40 hours a week during my 9-to-5 working hours and having to work late nights to catch up or work weekends to, again, meet the demands of my job. On top of that, I found myself saying yes to multiple opportunities, especially if it was going to, quote unquote, further my career at this company and show people that I had, quote unquote, what it takes. Now, here's where we get into my quiet quit. Around May, I started realizing that I really wanted to start my own business. I really wanted to take my YouTube channel seriously, and I really wanted to leave this job. So I started plans to do that. I think it was about May that I decided to invest in a course called Boss Graham Academy that talked all about how to start an online coaching business. I invested about $1,000 into this course, as well as investing quite a bit of money into the camera I'm using today to record this video to jumpstart my process and jumpstart my journey to leave my 9-to-5. So morally, what does that mean? Does it mean that I was not working during the day and not meeting the actual requirements of my job? No, it does not. And this is where, to me, the line gets drawn for a quiet quit. As long as you're still meeting the expectations of your actual job and you're getting things done, then in my opinion, I think it is morally fine to quiet quit. Now, my quiet quit more looked like playing YouTube videos about starting my own business and learning how to grow on YouTube while I was doing my work. Every once in a while, an idea would pop up in my head for my business, and I would write things down in my notes and then get back to work. But I found my stress levels starting to decrease as soon as I started working on an alternate plan for my job. Once I realized that there was other options and that there was a possibility to invest in something else and actually leave, I was able to quietly quit and still get my work done. To me, this is where the ironic part comes in. Once I did my quiet quit and I started focusing on making one YouTube video a week and learning as much as I could, I started coaching people for free on the side. I was doing calls with people from my YouTube community, and I had a few beta clients, as they call it, who I was meeting with weekly, creating an entire coaching program for them, and doing this all around my 9-to-5 job. That, ironically, is when people started noticing my hard work at my job. It was like as soon as I stopped trying so hard, the work that I was doing well, people actually started to notice. When I was busting my butt day in and out, constantly checking in with everyone, it's like I was too in everyone's face or something, and I never got any praise for my work, as well as constantly feeling burnout because I was spinning my wheels at all hours of the day, all hours of the night, trying to figure out how I could do the best possible job at my 9 to 5 instead of putting that effort towards something that actually was bringing me fulfillment. Looking back, it's really clear to me that once I chilled out at my 9 to 5, did the work I was supposed to do, I started actually doing a better job at that work, as well as I didn't feel constantly burnt out, I wasn't constantly getting sick, and I was actually able to do my work between my 9 to 5 hours because I had this passion and this drive to finish my work as soon as I possibly could so I could get to my coaching calls, start learning from the course I invested in, and editing videos for YouTube. Now, do I think a quiet quit is sustainable in the long term? No, I don't. And here's why. Once you've quietly quit, unless you have hobbies outside of your 9 to 5 that you're now able to put your passion and drive into, it can start to get really old. A time that I like to consider where I was, in a sense, quietly quitting, but also not pursuing anything else is when I was in my job in college, which was in the data center at my university. I worked this job. It was only 20 hours a week, but then I was in full-time school outside of the job. I got to a point where I was done with this job. I really didn't want to be doing it anymore, but I didn't really have anything else I wanted to do instead. I was just burnt out and tired. So I started going to work, not really trying that hard, slacking off, talking to coworkers, and just getting the bare minimum done at that job. The thing is, over time, I started to actually get really depressed. That was actually one of my worst years I had in college, and there's a lot of other reasons behind it, but I started calling out of work more often and just really not having any social life at all. And looking back, it's clear to me what the issue was. I was not passionate about my job, I was not passionate about school, and I had no hobbies going for me to keep me entertained in my daily life. From there, I started to isolate myself from other people, and I started analyzing what everyone else's life looked like and comparing it to my own. Now, of course, you can go and say, well, that's a mental health problem, XYZ, which I'm not going to tell you it's not. But at the end of the day, if I had been able to find a hobby that I was really passionate about and invest myself into something that made me feel like my life actually had a purpose, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I would have been more fulfilled and I wouldn't have felt so depressed. So long story short, if you're going to quietly quit, I suggest you do it for one of two reasons. Number one is if you're looking to just stay in the job till a specific endpoint and you're trying to relieve your stress. One thing that I told myself the first year at my 9 to 5 was that as soon as my husband got into med school, I would be able to quit my job and move to wherever his med school was and then find something better for myself. So for a while, I was using that as my threshold for how much longer I had in this job. Then for a multitude of reasons, my husband's med school deadlines got pushed and he was not going to be going to med school the next year anymore. It was going to be a whole nother year. Once I had this 2-year timeline in my head of I have 2 more years at this dead-end job that I don't want to be doing, it became impossible for me to continue to use that as my way to stay in the job and just get through it. So if you do have an upcoming deadline of less than a year that you can use to say, I'm just going to quietly quit this job and finish it out until March, then fine, I think that totally works. But if you don't have a deadline like this, then you need to consider option 2, which is to find something else to put your passion and energy towards that's not the job that you're currently trying to quietly quit. So if you are someone who is trying to quietly quit your job because you want to pursue something else, then I definitely encourage you to subscribe to the channel and join the community. A lot of us in here are looking to do something besides our current 9 to 5s, our current careers. I was initially in engineering and I've since transitioned into doing digital marketing and VA work for other creators online, and I've really been enjoying it a lot. So on this channel, I've been sharing my experience through that as well as my financial journey. We do monthly money chats, goal recaps, all of that. So if you're interested in joining the community, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and let me know in the comments what job you are currently quietly quitting from and what your plan is to do instead. But that is all I have for you guys in today's video. I really hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.